So I'm ready to put the front suspension together for our Phantom Cuda. I've got Adam working with me. He's one of the greenhorns here. We are really down to rotors. And
calipers.
Very good. All right, with that done, let's get this side done. He's the guy that disassembles them, cleans and preps the parts, so I thought this would be a great opportunity, just him and I build it out, let him see how important the detailing and the things that he's doing ahead of time are. So let's grab a rotor. I'm just gonna have you kind of watch me do this.
Okay.
So what we wanna do is slide this down onto the spindle itself. We've got our PST suspension out, we've got our AMK bolt kit out. This is ready to go together. So I'm gonna work with him and see if we can teach him another segment of the shop. So now that we have the caliper on, all we have to do is install the bolts that hold it in place and they slide on. Okay. So we're gonna go through from the back right here, line it up, look at that, real nice, See it starting to poke through that outer one. That's a good thing. These are the retainers. This is an anti-rattle clip. So I'm going to put that under there and down to here. Those two are in place. So now, with the magic of the ratchet, run them into place. Get it right there, put about 25 pounds on it like that. This one's ready to go. And you are now done. This should spin freely. Hear that little drag on there?
Awesome.
Let's go do the other side.
Okay.
After hundreds of hours of body and paint work, and dozens of hours of wet sanding and buffing, our 1971 Phantom Cuda is about to receive the most iconic, legendary, and talked about decal in the history of the American muscle car, the Billboard graphic.
This time on Graveyard Carz, Will teaches George the finer points of undercoating. Mark continues work on the drivetrain for the Phantom Cuda. Allysa and Will are put to the test when they attempt to install the massive Cuda billboard. Finally, the 1971 446-barrel Phantom Cuda is ready for its date-correct drivetrain, if everybody gets along.
Why are you out here, Will? No, I don't.
Why are you out here? You gonna put some labels on some
Coming up on this episode of Graveyard Carz.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It has been established that the unburied dead are coming back to life.
I'm Mark Warman, and together we bring dead muscle cars back to life, to exactly the way they were on the day they were born.
This station will remain on the air day and night.
Now that the 1971 446-barrel Phantom Cuda has been painted, wet sanded, and buffed, Will is ready to proceed with the final assembly line details. And George is curious about what those are.
I got my boy George helping me today. I have the Phantom in the booth, completely masked off, and it's ready to undercoat. So I got him coming in to help me move the car around. I also want him to see what the bottom of these cars should look like before they get undercoated, so that way when he's putting floor pans in, he knows what areas need to look really sharp. So you can see how nice the underside has to look before we can actually undercoat it.
This is the first time I've ever been in the paint booth with Will.
It is how clean it needs to be, the welds. AMD obviously did this whole car and everything looks perfect, but when you're doing the inside, getting it ready for me, the outside has to look just as good, okay? What the is this? I would never wear a shirt with Mark Warman on it, ever. What? You bought a shirt that's got Mark on it?
Yeah, what? What's wrong with that? I even got a signature on my back.
You got it for free, didn't you?
How'd you guess?
Yeah, bet you earned that. I don't wear one shirt that has Mark on it.
I wear your shirt all the time.
I'm cool. Big difference.
So he's not cool now?
No. Was he ever?
Some days.
All right. So you'll be able to see how much it actually covers here. So factory did from the firewall back. So that's what we're doing on this car. Factory used to put it on really. I mean, you dug it out.
Yeah.
All that thick. I don't like to do that because I like people to look underneath the car and see how clean it looks like, not like we're trying to hide anything. So I like to just kind of put it on nice and clean and even across the whole bottom.
Now, what's some of the things you got to look out for?
Bad welds, gaps, your normal type of work.
Yeah, I see how this is. You brought me in here just to give me a hard time.
I'm gonna need your help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I gotta rotate this the other way here, and I can't do it by myself. The undercoating was not a factory option on this car, but where the people live, they salt the road a ton. They're in bad weather all the time, so we did it on this car just to protect it. So it's what's best for the car. Mr. Ray, woohoo! The time has come for you to assemble another car, my friend.
Oh, I'm ready, boy. Super excited to get the Phantom Cuda in here. It's, you know, being a big fan of the show, I watched it, you know, kind of progress, you know, through the show, and it's amazing that I'm here working here now and I get a chance to actually work on it.
I even did the blackout for you, so you didn't have to deal with paint over in your area.
Perfect.
Doors are good, hood's good, header's
shoot,
good.
The gaps look great.
Yeah.
Man, that looks awesome.
I'm not done 100% with the car yet. We're still waiting on a couple little parts and pieces to get painted. And then we have to get the billboards put on it before it actually comes off the whirly jig and goes onto the lift.
Will laid down an awesome paint job. AMD did a great job on the sheet metal. I mean, it just looks fantastic. I'm really excited to start putting some new parts on this car.
You want me to push or you want to guide it?
I'll guide, it's fine. I'm all
Just
right.
put it in that hole over there to the left.
Okay.
Dave's always ready for a new car to come over. He kind of bounces around. It's always nice to get a fresh car over there, new colors, new things to look at. So I know he's always ready for whatever I bring over to him. Everything from this point forward should go pretty smoothly. Everything we have for the car is brand new. Putting the billboards on are kind of tricky. I'm gonna try to weasel my way out of it and just have Mark do it, but we'll see how that goes.
So I hear you're planning on putting the billboards on here.
Well, you're half right.
Yeah.
Yes, the billboards need to go on it
Yeah.
before you take it off the whirly. The part you're wrong is yeah, I'm not putting the billboards on this thing.
You're not putting them on?
Why am I out on the billboards?
Or why are you being such a baby? Well,
Because I'll them up. They're huge. I talked because he told me I was putting the ones on the Roadrunner.
Yeah, that's one decal I wouldn't want to put on either.
No, so I'm just gonna find out what day he's doing it and get sick or something, I don't know. I'm not gonna put those things on.
I couldn't even put a jack instruction sticker on, so I know I'm done for. I'm not even gonna try it. I put the jack instruction decal on, it was all wrinkled. I'm like, no.
That was enough for you?
I'm done. Yeah, that was enough.
I give Mark a hard time because he's a perfectionist on everything that he does. He puts his decals on, they're absolutely perfect. But if it's off a hair, I have to be the first one to point it out. Now, a billboard takes up the whole quarter panel. So I've watched him go set after set after set before they're actually perfect. It's fun to pick on him, but I'm really not interested in doing it and having you guys film it. And then, hey, Will can't do it either. So I'm just gonna call in sick that day. He can put them on himself. All right, buddy.
Well, thank you, Will. You do awesome work, buddy. It's beautiful as always.
Enjoy.
Thank you. That looks nice, man. Woo! Can't wait. Just what I wanted to do was an e-body. Take a break from convertibles for a while.
I am very happy this car is done and out of our life.
With the Phantom Cuda out of the paint shop and into the assembly shop, the pressure is on to complete the drivetrain.
The only thing left in the drivetrain is the Dana rear axle. So that's what I'm getting ready to build out. Remember, this car is equipped with an A33 package that gave it the 4-speed transmission, the heavy-duty 18-spline input shaft, as well as the 3.54-to-1 power lock Dana 60 rear end. Remember, if you had a 4-speed behind a 440, 446 barrel, or 426 Hemi, you automatically got this big truck rear end. I've already gone through the gears, set them up. I have the rear cover installed on it. I have the inner axle seals in there. If you look at these two axles, you'll see that one is shorter than the other one. That's because on Mopars, remember, the drivetrain, the entire drivetrain is offset to one side. So it's not perfectly centered down the car. So this short one right here goes on the right-hand side. It also has, and it's hard to see right here, it has an adjuster on it. What we'll do is we'll do this left-hand one first. Left hand is the driver's side. The seal itself that I just showed you rides right here. So I like to grease this so it doesn't tear the seal before it has an opportunity to lubricate it. The first thing that goes on is one of these steel flange gaskets. They go on like that. The axle actually goes through the backing plate. So I have the backing plates right here. While they look the same, there's one key difference, and that's this hole. This hole is for the emergency brake cable. And that emergency brake cable goes forward in the car. So this hole has to point forward. So that slides on there. Now you see this hole right here is pointing forward because it's going to get the parking brake or emergency brake cable is going to come right through there, and it's going to hook to the hardware inside here. And that's what's going to actually accentuate or engage the brake shoes. So now here is our longer of the two left-hand axle. So we are going to slide that very carefully through the axle seal. This has to line up internally with the carrier. Show you what I'm talking about. This is a cool little setup. You'll notice these U-bolts and all the hardware that I have set out here, and these little baggies. We get these now from AMK, company that reproduces all this hardware, and they put them in bags. So I know that when I open this little baggie up, if I don't flip it all over the place, I've got all 9 of the special nuts that hold the axle on, and the very special one that is used to hold on our, and this will be on the right-hand side when we get there, the collar that holds the adjustment collar in place. So right now I can just put these on and get them started. The cool part about building this out, certainly for me, is I've been with the Phantom Cuda since the beginning. I'm the one that made the deal with the owner originally, way back in the day. So for me to see this car coming to fruition the way it is, every single part and every single component that I'm building is exciting for me. It's a nice feeling to know that we're getting there. Once this axle's done, we'll load it onto the stand that we build, and literally everything from the fan to the drive shaft will be built on that stand. Then all we'll have to do is take the car, put it up on a lift, lower it down onto the drivetrain and the suspension, and our car's whole again. As we're getting better and slicker out here in the shop, I'm having less time behind the desk ordering parts and chasing down problems and putting out fires, and more time to come out here and work. But yeah, I think maybe on this particular case, I do have my hand in it just a little bit more than the other cars. And that's fine, because again, it's a big part of why I'm standing here right now.
With the Phantom Cuda's rear suspension nearly complete, the time has come to see if Will's ego has been writing checks his body can't cash.
We got our Phantom Cuda that's ready for the billboards. I usually install them myself, but if you recall, the last time I was doing some billboards, or excuse me, Mr. Goldberg's graphics and the billboards, Cool Breeze came by and wanted to put his 2 cents worth in about how, are you gonna do it one time, are you gonna do them straight, that kind of, which is fun. That's fun, I love that stuff. That's a good gag. One of my favorite things to do in the world. However, it did earn him a trip to hell, and hell is putting them on yourself. Now, in fairness, since you're his little co-conspirator, you car thief, I thought what I would do is I'm gonna put on the driver's side in completion, in total, all right? That will give them the location of the decal, how much gel it should have in it so that it slides like it's supposed to, so it doesn't kick off too fast and have air bubbles in it, all those little things, all those intricacies, they're gonna get to see firsthand while they're paying attention. I would highly recommend paying attention, because those are over $200 for a set of billboard graphics.
I think that we can do it. I'm really excited to pull it off, because I think that my dad doesn't think that we can do it.
With good reason.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to get in there and give it a try.
Well, he did knock that set out the first time perfect, so obviously he set the standard quite high for us to go and do the same. Should be fine. Don't go far.
I'm wishing you well. They're a couple $100. But you know what? It's worth it to me, even if you ruin one, because I think this is good education for both you guys. So good luck. Godspeed. Call Phoenix Graphics and order another set of those. So I've got both axles in. You'll notice that the one on the right-hand side has this collar, this adjustable collar. And so if you watch the in play, it's so that you can adjust the preload on that bearing. See how that walks in and out? That's a little too much free play. So as I turn that collar in, it'll take some of that movement out of there. And you kind of get the feel for it. You could use a dial indicator and look it up, but I don't need to do that. I've done enough of them that I kind of know that range that I like, but it is something that you like to check later after you've driven the car a little bit to make sure that it hasn't moved or play has come in or gone. So still quite a bit. These are a pain in the butt to get to. Now's the time to adjust it, not once you got all the brake shoes on, which is the next thing I'll be doing, but If you don't do this now, hear that? I like that right there. That's a real nice amount. Now what they provide you with here, to make sure that that collar doesn't back off, they've given us this little cog here. And you want to line that up so that'll seat properly. Right now it's not seating properly. So I've got to back it off just a hair. I'd rather be a little loose and a little tight, because when things get hot, they swell. You know what I'm talking about, camera boy?
While Mark addresses his swelling concerns, Will and Allysa begin the process of prepping the Billboard decal.
Yeah, I'm a
No, I meant like, as long as we're pulling the right side off.
Right, but we want it the other way, don't we? Because you're gonna walk back with it. Didn't we pull it off the other way? Okay, you come on this side. Okay, now you're gonna put your little beaters there.
What did you just say?
Just
You're
hold
gonna take...
What are you doing?
How dirty are your hands? Look at that. Did you wash them?
Yes.
That was probably pretty important.
Okay, oh God, look what you've done. Uh-oh,
What have you done?
we got problems.
What have you done?
I didn't do anything.
So that fits on there like that. Then I can just use my regular driver to run it down. That turns nice and free like it should. Done, just like that. So now both axles are installed. The end play is set. And we can put our emergency brake cables on next, then build out all the brake shoe hardware. These are available from Inline Tube. That's where we buy all of ours. They're the best people making these on the market. If there's a right and a left, it'll tell you what they are. This one's a 554. 554 looks like the exact same number. That means they're going to be the exact same length. These are kind of tricky. There's these little tabs right here that once they go through the opening of this hole for the brakes, they expand out. So getting those in there is sometimes a little bit of a pain in the butt. You can hear the 1 click, 2 click, and 3 click. So now you see those tabs have popped out, and they're now gonna keep it from being able to come back this way. So now we have our first part of our cable in place. This will go up against an emergency brake and allow it to kick everything out when it needs to. All right, so we'll put the other one in. So I've only got like a few items left on the axle to finish it up. The pinion plate, which I have to put on the pinion snubber plate. I've got one leaf spring I'm waiting to have come in so I can put the leaf springs on as a pair, and the brake line, put the brake drums on it, and this thing's finished.
First of all,
Look at
I
your
think
dad.
we're pulling off the wrong side. That's what I said. I think we're supposed to be pulling off this
It was
side.
over before it even started. No.
You sure? Because
Yes. I know that.
then how,
I don't know.
why is this happening?
I lay it back down.
Wow, we made it far before we had to get my dad. It went terribly wrong.
I blame her for the overconfidence. That I can blame you for, right?
Do you remember me saying not to get that part of it wet?
I thought we'd at least get to the point where we're trying to work out the air bubbles, you know, before we ask my dad for help. But
I thought we thought it would get to the car at least. It didn't leave the table.
It's remember when I said that'll pull the... Okay, give me a second.
It wasn't meant to be.
what I'm thinking about right now is how long it's gonna take for my dad to stop talking about this.
Thank you for not going far.
Remember how picky I was about getting that wet too soon? Because this backing paper will come off. So go ahead and peel back.
Okay.
Just get out of this bad zone here, okay? Get out of the bad zone. You got the whole thing wet. Good job. Guys, that's that's what we call That's nice.
What happened?
What happens, you got it wet, and now it's just delaminating. This stuff can't get wet. That's why I had one person pulling it way out here and I was soaking here. So I knew it was revealed with dry and it
Oh, we did it
I
too close.
see.
So throw that away. This is bad news. That's why I didn't do it on the table. So you failed at the very first lesson. That's okay. Throw it away.
So,
It's gonna be an expensive training by the time it's over.
yeah, it's easy. Everybody should do it. Come on, Will, have confidence. How hard could it be?
I'm gonna help you because I only have one more after this.
Yeah, I realize that.
I didn't realize you would ruin one
Okay, we thought we would get
before you even
further.
got the backing paper off.
We thought we. It's a
So
little-
okie dokie. It's all gonna work out.
Well, it has
All
to
right.
now.
Let's turn this over.
Ah, don't get it wet. You see that table's bad news now.
Did you use your hand on this like I showed you? No. This is where you feel for any imperfections that could have fallen in since you last tack clothed it. So when I show you those steps, it isn't because Big Daddy just wants to hear himself talk, though I do love that.
Thanks for dragging me into this, by the way.
How'd I drag
Thank
you into
you
anything?
so much.
Now
We're
we're going to
trying to
stop and dry our hands off, aren't we?
My hands are dry.
Mine are not.
Correct.
Because if you get water, one dot of water right there, what does it do?
Game over.
Game over, right. Grab this. Thank you.
We didn't do it this way.
Begin to reveal. Make sure you have a good pinch with your right hand so it doesn't drop. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there.
I think he really wants us to learn to do something else. I truly do. I mean, I do believe that he would love the fact that you and I could come out here and knock out some billboards and be done. Would be awesome. I was fine painting them on, but you wanted to go with the sticker.
Let's just get her laid out there. One last look. There we go. I think that's it right there. We're good at the back, we're good at the front, we're good on the sides. I like it. We're gonna start in the middle. And give us a nice squeegee up. And now we just have to make sure that we squeegee our water from the inside out. All right? Okay, I've got it set in place. Well, I'm gonna let you work a little bit with the squeegee here.
Where are you going?
I'm watching.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna watch you. Believe it or not, I'm on your side here. Why are you holding it like that? I think that ultimately Will ought to be able to do graphics. It is kind of the painter's job. I've always let him off the hook for it. But I think he's at a point now where he needs to grow and evolve. Good, looking good. Didn't even get it off the table. No, you're gonna screw things up. That's just it. But I didn't get mad. I didn't get screaming. I didn't jump up and down. You're gonna make mistakes. It's how you handle it. And also, it was a lesson in patience. You're doing a good job, right? But I mean, I laid the thing in.
I can't hear you. What was your advice?
I wasn't trying to bother you. This is a very sensitive time where a person needs their concentration.
Okay.
That kind of a thing. So I wasn't trying to distract you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just want to keep kind of moving like that. Nice slow steps. The guys really tried, Allysa and Will. And they're tough. I mean, no matter what, they are just plain tough. It does take sometimes, even I will admit that I've messed up these decals because it is easy. One drop of water and it sits there and penetrates that backing, and next thing you know, you got yourself in a predicament. If they hadn't had as much of the stuff on the back that had come off that first time, I could have saved the decal. But knowing that they were going to probably have some problems, I had ordered extras. How you feeling? Confident?
We're not doing it again. Are you gonna do billboards
I'm gonna
again?
be hesitant about letting you drag me into things too from here on out. This was brutal.
What did I do?
Savage.
I've got everything laid on here right now. Yeah, we've got everything laid out right now. Why don't we pull this backing paper off right here? Go ahead and pull that down and let me watch that. Looks good, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. We could never have done it without me. You didn't get it off the table. I've never had somebody ruin a decal before they even started it. It's just, it borders on a miracle.
Mark.
It does border on a miracle.
So apparently Mark is more than a check signer. He's a billboard installer, which comes with all the crazy stories, so maybe there's like 3 things he's good for. Stories about
For
beers
days.
for days that it wouldn't end. Billboards and signing our paychecks. That's it.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Actually, been good the first time around.
Yeah.
We got some problems here, folks. That's all right. That's okay. You're gonna get them. See how tricky those are?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? All right, so these are the problems you have if you get in a hurry. So we just very calmly lay this flat, work our bugs out of it, not a problem, okay? Patience is the name of the game in this. If you're a little early and you're committed like we are now, we just got to walk them out of there, that's all. Everybody gasps. There's a huge sound of gasping in the room, but just breathe. Work it out. If you need to peel it up, and put it back down again. So it's an exercise in patience as well.
I think our Billboard days have come to an end. And I'm okay with that. Are you?
Yeah.
Overall, I think they did a great job. They did the best they could, having been the very first billboards that you've ever done. Because I tell you, when I did my first billboards, it took time after time after time. There's always the other side of it, and that is maybe you shouldn't shoot your mouth off when you're walking by and I'm doing stripes on Goldberg's car.
We as a team did a good job.
I don't know how I would have ever done it without your guys' help.
Thank you, Mark.
You're the best.
I know you mean that.
Oh yeah, from the bottom of my heart.
Now that the Phantom Cuda's billboard installation is complete, Will and Allysa will hopefully take notes for next time. Meanwhile, with the exterior looking good, Mark turns his attention back to the undercarriage components.
So right now, the 71 Cuda Phantom 440 6-barrel 4-speed, one of 108, drivetrain is completely built out, right down to the Dana, torsion bars, drive shaft. The entire engine is built out, as is the transmission. So all I have left is put the 354 Dana on the stand, install the base plate and the shaker assembly. Mike is here, which is a good thing. He's gonna give me a hand. Those are a couple of awkward items. And then we can move it over to the assembly shop and reunite it with the Cuda. The suspension's plumbed out. Everything. Upper control arms are merely sitting in place. These are loose in here because once we get the car ready to reunite this with the car, we'll actually put the control arms in the car itself. It's just, we found that that's been a lot easier. I called Brewers about 3 months ago and told him we needed an E-body Hemi 4-speed date coded correct for a 71. He had one. Beautiful. So we have a date coded correct 18 spline Hemi 4-speed. It's all detailed out and rebuilt by them, including brand new shift rods, but it's installed. The only thing we'll have to take off when it actually goes in the car is this reverse rod. It'll come off the front or come off the back because the cross member, which you see is also in place, actually comes up right between these two. So this will have to come off. You'll notice the yellow transmission mount. That's correct on 446 pack and 426 Hemis. It's a heavier duty mount, but literally even the reverse light, the one that pops on in the dash, we've already got the wiring harness in place for it. We've got that from OER. So literally right now, everything that we can have, fuel lines, electrical, all the mechanical pieces, from the fan to the output shaft to the transmission, are done. All we have to do right now is we're gonna put the shaker base on it, the air cleaner and the shaker lid. We'll put our Dana 60, which is completely rebuilt back here, by the way, folks. This is completely restored and ready to be lifted off. Leaf springs, Mike did these, beautiful job. Sandblast these, paint these a flat black to look like a natural finish. The leaf spring rebuild kits from Inline Tube. The Dana's stripped down and painted with the 80% gloss. You've got every component right down to the replica oil-filled shocks in the back with the correct hardware from our friends at AMK that hold it in the actual car itself. You'll notice the front has the brand new Keps nuts with the captive washer built onto them. Again, part of the chassis kit that we got from AMK. Inline Tube provided us with all the brake lines that go in the car, from the fluid lines to these actual emergency brake lines. Once we lift that off and set it on there, put the shaker on there, this could run. You could put a battery to this and run it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So these drain tubes, now this is gonna have to come off obviously to do some minor connections once we get to that point. But that sets down there. Go ahead and grab our 6-pack lid and new element. Notice how much of this engine is covered. This is a 440, this is a big engine. This is the RB, the bad boys. Now, it doesn't have the same footprint as a Hemi. Go ahead and put it on. But just notice how much real estate that thing takes up. All you see on the car is this cute shaker bubble, but look at the enormity of that thing. It covers all the way out flush, almost flush, with the exhaust manifold on both sides. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. There's the correct 6-barrel, 6-pack studs, which actually have a rib on them that keep them from going down too far, and the correct wing nuts. Nothing you see on a Graveyard Carz car is by chance. Everything is to duplicate, emulate, replicate the OEM appearance. And here comes the bad boy of them all. Look at that. We'll still have to make our holes that bolt this shaker actually onto the base. But if that isn't just significantly cool, I don't know what is. We got to go over the top of our 440 for the vanishing point car. Look at that complete 1971 446 barrel, 4-speed track pack A34 in a D21 car with EV2 and an N96. I can go on for days. All right, let's clear a path over to the assembly shop and move this bad over there, yeah. Good job, guys. Nice work.
That looks great.
We're that close to putting that in that car.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, are you working on plumbing it out?
Yeah, working on plumbing out the firewall. So I got all my
Awesome.
stuff together, and yep, just
So
a matter of.
just so you know, no pressure, because everything's okay. We're only 6 years behind on this car.
Oh
technically.
yeah, it's not bad.
No. Built in 1971. This is 2016. How many of those are left? Every crazy kid, even if he wasn't drunk or high, was out there racing these cars and wrecking them. And the Cuda, for the record, just for the record, 2 inches shorter than a Challenger, doesn't seem like much, was the squirreliest of the muscle cars. Those cars were light in the so you put 385 horsepower, which is underrated, under the hood, in conjunction with a car that's already light in the loafers. These things were around telephone poles, man. That's what happened to this one. He went out around that truck running over a buck. Not a buck, a deer, 100 miles an hour. That's cool talk. And he lost control because that back end came around on him. C'est la vie, you know? Ude, boué, bessoir, c'est choix, you know?
Finally, after 6 long years, the 1971 440 6-barrel Phantom Cuda drivetrain is ready for installation. But first, the fuel tank, fuel lines, and engine compartment must be built out.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Rock it. I think we'll start at the
We're
back of the car and just work our way forward.
Yep, sounds good.
The 71 tank is different than the 70 tank. See these 4 little vents right here? None of these take fuel in. These are all vapor vents right here. The actual fuel comes in over here on this side, on the inlet side of the
Sending unit.
sending unit. Yeah. Sorry, brain's not working very good there.
Fine.
Yep. All right, so let's put it up in there and see if it wants to cooperate. It's so nice when everything's new.
Oh
You don't
yeah.
have to fight so hard.
And get her straight.
Oh God, yeah, this is a butter. It is nice when
Here's
it's
the nut
new.
for you there.
Yep.
We can work our fuel line first. Here's our main line, of course.
Yep. Which on a 440 and a 446 barrel and the 426 Hemi is 3/8. If this
Yep.
was a 383 or a 340, this would be a 5/16 line. But this is designed to deliver a lot of fuel. Okay, so right now we're just kind of feeding the lines into place. Right now we're ready to put in the brake lines on the driver's side of the car.
Yep.
That'll probably go a lot easier since there's only one that runs front to rear.
Exactly, and it's small.
It's small, so let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, we got our brake line in, so we'll go ahead and just lower the car down a little bit so we can.
Yeah, we're wrapped up for the most part back here. We'll let it down. Do the firewall up.
Sound good?
She's moving, baby. She's moving.
Awesome.
On the firewall, we're going to put the power brake booster on. Any wiring harnesses that we have, which will be the forward lamp harness. The engine harness is actually on the engine itself. The disc brake proportioning valve, this is for the disc brakes, this is for the main brakes. We've got it all kind of pre-plumbed here, so we'll put that in. So yeah, literally everything left on this table can go on there now. You could almost put everything that goes on the firewalls and the aprons
Exactly. As
Now.
much as we can put on, we're going to put on.
If you want to work on that, I'll work on some wiring and putting some control arms and things like that in
Okay.
out here. So, yep, go for
Sounds
it.
good.
Mopar was so proud of their engine compartments back in those days. They painted them. They didn't just shoot them black like Ford did. They were literally wanted you to open that hood and take appreciation of their artwork, and that's what it was.
It was. Yeah,
artwork.
it was awesome.
After the fuel lines are installed, Royal shows up, probably to ensure he's not blamed for forgetting to connect them. The engine compartment is nearly built out, which means the drivetrain installation is just around the corner.
This is a cool thing. This is a duplicate of the original ballast resistor. You'll notice the gold cadmium finish on it. This bolt, this is a Chrysler trick. Take a real nice look up close at that. See that little fisherman's anchor that's on there? And the zinc plating? This is exactly what Chrysler used on all their firewalls. They had a pilot hole in the firewall, and then they used this self-tapping, self-threading bolt. And if you see these little knobs, these are paint cutters. This is designed to cut into the paint because some of these need a ground. So with that, I set this where it goes here. Another interesting point here, when Chrysler painted these engine compartments, they just came through here and they blew color, all right? So when you go to a show and you see the wiper motor, hopefully it's date coded correct with a nickel cadmium finish, and it's exact replica of the original. Look at the end of the peg, the end of the stud itself. The end of that stud should be body color. The nut is going to go on and it's going to clean these threads up as it tightens down the wiper motor. But that actual end right there should still be body color because there's no reason to have taken that off in the process of putting the motor on. So I see a lot of people getting there and they clean that off because they don't think it's right. It is right.
Now, with the engine compartment built out, the gas tank in place, and the Royal Yoakum stamp of approval on the fuel line connections, the much-anticipated uniting of the legendary 446-barrel Hemi 4-speed engine and the 354 Dana is at hand.
Right now we are ready to install the drivetrain, the legendary drivetrain in our 1971 Cuda 446-barrel 4-speed, one of 108 made. This car's seen it all. Now it's about to see for the first time since January 5th, 1980, a drivetrain in it. Let's do this mother humper.
Why are you out here, Will?
Wow, because he asked us to be out here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I
Well,
can
no,
go.
I never
Why are
did
you
that.
out
You're
here?
the
You're gonna put some
painter.
Out of the
labels on
kindness of my old heart, I wanted Will to share in this. All right? Guys, we're putting the rear end in. You guys
Don't
can
laugh.
grab later. Awkward grab.
I'll be over here.
Guide the front leaf spring perch hanger into the actual holes themselves as it comes down.
Okay, cool.
Come on, Rolo. You gotta lower the car down.
Sweet dung.
That's-
Hang on.
Make sure they clear. Make sure they clear. Make sure they clear. Stop there. This will go in here. Right there.
Go
Perfect.
the inside in.
Just like butter when it's all new and greased up, huh? Isn't that nice?
You're good.
Pull down on what?
Well, we got the rear end in, so now we'll tighten everything up. Make sure, I'll double check everything just to be sure. Once in a while, if you get too many people working on it, something gets left loose. And then we'll move up and drop the car down on the engine.
We're ready to lower the car down and unite it with the drivetrain. We've got new K-member bolts over there from our friends at AMK. We have everything ready to go. I say we're ready. Feed that upper radiator hose when it's time. And the fan should just clear. How's the manifold to shock tower look?
Looks
Pretty
good.
good on this side. It's gonna have to go back for sure on this side.
Yeah, it's got to go back about a ½ an inch. Go ahead and come on down a little, Royal. Okay, stop there.
Man, mine is right close.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Ta-da!
So we've got two front K-member bolts in right now. We've got to put the transmission cross-member in. So to do that, we have to jack the back of the transmission up. Whoever gave me this jack didn't give me the tools to work it with.
They got you, didn't they?
The only reason it's hard is you're old and fat. You guys okay out here?
I just said
standing
that,
around
so we're
doing
not as
nothing?
young as we used to be.
All right, so all we have left to do is to install the cross member bolts and tighten them down.
It's right here.
The transmission mount bolt needs to be tightened down. The K-member rear bolts need to be put into place. And then the suspension is intact.
There wasn't too many challenges with the install today. My dad had it pretty much lined up for us, so it went pretty smoothly. I think having so many hands on deck can be a little bit stressful for my dad. It's a lot for him to kind of like manage.
She kind of gets in the way, but then she backs out of the way, takes selfies with Royal, you know, as opposed to focusing on the job. So
I was
that's two
giving you
people
guys room
out.
to work.
So with those two out taking selfies, that helps a little bit. But we get her done and everything went just as planned.
Engine and transmission went in great, rear end went in great.
Yeah, I think it went really well. Take our time, nothing gets damaged on the way in. Everything was done beforehand, so it went really easy.
All right, let's put the wheels and tires on it, lower it down, and let them ride. Heat them in, ride them out. Move them in, move them out, ride.
Wait, I got one more brake line.
Wait, I've got one more brake line.
After a long day of everything Cuda, things have really come together. Will and George expertly executed the Phantom's undercoating. Mark finished the Cuda's 446-barrel drivetrain with some help from Adam and Mike. Under Mark's careful guidance, Will and Allysa installed the Cuda's large and cumbersome billboards. Well, half of them. And finally, the ghouls ganged up to install the massive 446-barrel drivetrain in the most anticipated graveyard cars restoration to date, the 1971 Phantom Cuda.
All right, wheels and tires are on. Royal, let it down. I want to get the stringo out, move it to the middle of the shop so I can appreciate the fruits of our labor.
Day it is.
That is absolutely, awesomely, gorgeously gorgeous. And they said it couldn't be done, folks. Now, all right, well, why don't we film it all being done? And that's what started Graveyard Cars. Do you remember any of that? Were you there? I could not have done this without Royal. I could have done it without him. I couldn't have done it without Mike, Allysa, Will. Did a good job.
Thank you.
Good job. Nah, I'm just kidding. We all did
Car looks
everybody involved did a great job. Will, the paint is phenomenal.
Body and paint's completely done on it. Got the drivetrain in. It's awesome.
You guys did a great job putting the decals on.
Yeah, that. I'm not even gonna talk on that one.
It's just so great to see it now with wheels and tires on it. It has a beautiful paint job.
Drivetrain, Mike, you did a great job. Did a beautiful job building, detailing. Everything's where it's supposed to be. It looks great. Royal, thank you for putting up with me while I was doing it. I think all in all, we had a phenomenal run
Yeah, we did.
this season. We got a lot of stuff done, a lot of cars. To have this car sitting where it's at, I think is a huge kudo. It's what we do. We bring dead cars back to life. And we do it with stiznile. Ow.
Wait, this is the last thing that people are gonna see?
Yeah,
Like our interview?
yeah. Well, it should be us.
Yeah.